Oh, excuse me. Good morning. Hi, everybody. It is actually the morning. Um, so I did a little bit of work yesterday on what should I call it? The, I don't know, the missing primes. I don't know, deleting primes or like, I don't know, just like the new world or something. So I was working on that a little bit. So I'll put up a slide. I'll put up a slide in a second. Yeah, so I'm kind of like working on my talk, but maybe it's not that exciting. So I'm gonna keep working on it. I'll probably post this today. I'm gonna post this today, and then maybe next week something. But and I really like this though, and I'm sure like the next time I have like a project when I give a talk, maybe I can give a talk about this new stuff, and then I can. That was really cool when I was like when I was coming here every day and getting a lot of work done. But it was also I had to kind of like just sit and listen and think. It's not that exciting now. So, but this stuff is always exciting and fun to me, and so I just wanted to talk about some thoughts. I mean, these are kind of thoughts that like kind of run through, but I don't often like write it down and like share it. So I want to kind of start building on it, and like this is the year of like, I don't know, this is the year of doing math. That's my main goal this year, is just really get some math done. So okay, so first slide, Aaron. So I've been thinking a lot about adding these blocks together, and also it's like this somehow it's like this physical world. Yeah, so it's all about like these building blocks. So I'll talk. I guess every time I say I'll talk about something later, then I always forget to. So I was like, I'll just talk about it. Yeah, it's this physical world, and it's like sort of like, why can't they count? Like I just feel like there's some kind of limitation because of they don't really, and I don't know why. Like, I don't know why they have this limitation, but it's like they don't really know what like. They know that like you've got this length of a prime and then a little bit bigger, and like they might be able to count individual blocks. I don't know, but like their whole world is these. They live in a world that doesn't. It's not numbers like it is to us. It's these objects. It's like this very physical world, but it's also like sort of idealized or something. Okay, so after much consideration about adding these numbers, I had this whole like I've gone through phases, and you guys like I've been thinking about this for like like I don't know, maybe I shouldn't say because it doesn't sound good, but like a long time, a very long time. It sort of kind of comes in and out, but so there's different ideas of like somehow like I'm gonna add 3 and 5, and somehow you can stack the 3 on top and then cut off the 2 and then tuck it under or something. Okay, but I think the best thing to do is. And I wanted to kind of preserve, like when you add 3 and 5, you can kind of see like 8 has the 3 and the 5 in it. Like that was kind of the whole idea of this whole thing, was that like in the end you have this 8 and you can see clearly that it's a sum of 2 primes because of the blocks. But that's not happening. Other things are happening, but that's not happening. That was the original idea. Okay, so I think the best way to add these things is, again, you can't just have the 3 on top of the 5 or something, because that's not a block. That's not a thing for them. 8 isn't really a thing, but they have this structure that's 8. Okay, so the best thing I think to do, these dozers, is just break up the blocks and just start building with prime blocks. Oh, let me show you guys this very fun game. Okay, so this is like a fun game that you can play, that they can play. So I just grab a random number of blocks. Okay, so what you can do is let's see if I can. What you can do is just try to like make it into any kind of a rectangle. If they make any kind of a rectangle, we can make it a rectangle with a prime base. But okay, or another thing they can do is they only know about prime bases anyway, so they could just try and make 2 blocks and build from there. Okay, so I build a 2 block. Oh look, I made a rectangle, so I know it's not a prime. And now this is a valid structure. I don't even know what the original number of pieces I got. Okay, so if you do this fun game and you try building with like prime blocks, you can build 3s. Again, if you made a thing with a base of 4, that's okay. Not even in this world where we delete the 2. Just if you made a base with 9, it's okay, because you can always any number can be written in terms of prime blocks. So you could make a structure that's in the system. Okay, but might as well just make prime blocks. So they try and make rectangles. They get these structures, they break it all up, and then they only know prime blocks, so they make prime blocks and they try and build it. This is a fun game. I think this is actually a fun game. And then like you could do this, and basically you can make a rectangle or not. If you can't make a rectangle, it's prime. But if you play this game, like if that 2 didn't work, I could try it with 3s, and if that still didn't work, and I try eventually, if this is a prime, eventually the only thing that's going to work is just a long string. Like you'll get to that point. Okay, so they can play this game again. I don't know why they have these restrictions. Excuse me, just for a second. I don't know why they have these restrictions. Okay, so okay, again, the note, this loses info about the original summons, which was the point of the construction. Something else happened. Okay, but basically they can add without counting. So they have these 2, you give me any 2 blocks in this world, and they can add them, and it's going to be a structure that's in this world. So it's closed under addition under this method. Yeah, it is interesting. Again, I thought that like somehow the whole point of this is to like preserve. You're trying to add while kind of keeping in mind multiplication. But okay, that didn't really. You don't really see in 8 that it's a sum of 3 and 5, but other stuff's happening. Okay, we'll go to the next page. I'm doing this signal for myself. Okay, some other things I was thinking about. This could be a whole thing. Is just how are M and V alike? So this is kind of like set theory and enforcing and stuff, or other kinds of set theory things or logic things where you go from one universe to another. So, another thing is like, so suppose we've how are M and V alike? Suppose we've disabled P and M. So P squared is prime. Let's call M to the minus P, and that might change. Another thing is when I kill a prime, let's say I killed the 2 block. I kind of think of it like it's still there. Like it's not a world without the number 2 or something, really. But maybe you can think of it. It's like this. It's not a building block. They can't use it to build. That's all. Maybe it's like this. It's not a good structure for building, and it's 2 still exists, but it's like this. So anything that gets deleted is really just like a vertical bar instead of a building block, which is like this. Okay. So, okay. I'm sorry, you guys. Okay. So, if Q is less than P and V, then it's still a prime. It's the same prime as it was in V. If n is any number less than P, then the prime factorization of n in M to the minus P is the same as the prime factorization in V. So if you're below the disabling point of a certain prime, then your prime factorization is the same. If you're prime, you're still prime. Okay. If Q is greater than P and Q is prime, and they're both prime in V, then Q is still prime in V. It doesn't get affected by that. It's still prime. It's not like you can make it with other blocks or something, okay? I mean, you might have a new prime in there, but that only affects like, it really only affects in the construction like powers of that prime. Okay, if C is the set of composites in V and P is the set of primes in V, then the set of composites in V is the same as the set of composites in M minus P squared, so there's an extra prime. The set of primes in V is the set of, that should say M there, is the set of the primes in M, except for P, and now union P squared. If 2 numbers, I don't know how to actually write this, but if 2 numbers add up, if A plus B is C and V, then A plus B is C and M. Whether the prime is missing or not, if you look at these structures, like what we interpret, we interpret these blocks by counting the spots, and then we interpret that as a number. If you do that, anything that 3 plus 5 is 8, 3 plus 5 is 8. Okay, that doesn't change that. It just changes what a couple of the primes, but the sets of primes are basically the same. And also, like the one thing that might change above the disabled prime is that you might have. Let me think. If you might have a different prime factorization for primes, because if you had like a power of 2 and 2 was disabled, then that prime factorization has. Well, here's an interesting thing. I guess 2 could still show up in the prime factorization, but they don't think of it like that. So if I disabled 2 as a prime and I was going to make 8, then I'd make it a 4 and 4, because now my 4 is a prime block, so I do 4 and 4, and that makes 8. So I guess to them, this is just kind of coming up right now. This is something to think about. I guess to them, like, prime factorization really just means what base can you use to make your object, and then how high is it. So to them, like, I'm just making this up right now. To them, like, prime factorization is more like, what base do you have and how high are you, even if the height isn't prime. Okay, let me think about that some more. So what am I thinking about the prime factorization? What does prime factorization mean? So that's different. That's definitely something that's different. Is like, to us, 8 is 2 to the third. For them, 8 is if 2 is missing, 8 is a 4 block and a 4 block. And they're both prime, so to them that is like a prime factorization. Okay, that's something to definitely think about. Okay, so the prime factorizations are different, even though the sets of composites and primes are basically the same. Okay, let's do the next slide, Erin. Okay. Oh, I didn't realize I've been talking for 11 minutes, you guys. Oh gosh, this stuff is so funny. Okay, so what happens if we kill p and p squared? We might think to that next level. Then p cubed becomes prime, because we can't make p cubed from anything else. If we had p squared, we could. We could do p squared base and then p height, which is okay. I really want to think about now these prime factorizations. Okay, so the bigger picture of what's going on in like different areas of math that we might need. First is like, this is like a brain or something. The logic part is like, what am I talking about? What am I talking about? Why does this world exist? Why are they deleting primes? Why can't they count in M? Why is it a physical world? And we want some kind of a theory like ultrafinitism, which I haven't finished. I'm getting into that paper. It's really, really interesting. These like, so kind of like, what is going on in this world and why can't they count and why is it a physical world? And like, yeah, what does that all mean? So that's kind of like logic too. It's like interpreting between the two worlds is sort of like, that's logic. Okay, so I'm gonna need some logic. Set theory, like how do M and V interact, and how does truth and M, what does truth and M have to do with truth and V? So if I did this like application where I was like, you know, there's a hole in Goldbach's conjecture and I'm gonna fill it in. So I did that in M. So what does that have to do with V? What does that mean about V? Or what does that mean about truth in V? Something like that. Or, you know, maybe it's all in M. I don't know. And then the other part is like doing like an application that's like a number theory thing. So like, I mean, thankfully I can pick on Goldbach's conjecture because we don't know the answer. So I can be like, oh, there's a hole. Let's imagine, you know, I can say that. Okay, we might also think about other, so this might help in like choosing this E, because I was going to choose an E is somehow p squared plus q squared, but somehow the E prime down here has a lot of choices for sums of primes. So something like that, choosing that E carefully, but again, how much choice do I have with that E? I don't know. Also, maybe look at some other things, like, I was looking at some stuff on Math Overflow, like, in general, like sums of primes equaling numbers, something, I don't know, maybe there's something like that there. So there's some stuff. I'm thinking there's some kind of like, I don't know, like, I don't remember, like, I don't know what they call them, but just like, they do like these, like, there's a lot of choices down here, and there's not, if we go to this level, you know, it's like, okay, I kind of, I don't know. We'll get to that. Okay, so that's like the bigger picture. Okay, so I can't believe I just kept talking. I think because I love talking about this stuff, even though, what am I talking about again? Like, what am I talking about? You know? So it's super fun though. Okay, well, and I missed you guys. So I think I'll just probably see you next week, because I mean, but you know, whenever I do this stuff, sometimes I'm like, I gotta share it. So we'll see. But I hope you have a great day, and yeah, let me know if you have any ideas. I can't wait for for the upcoming conference that I'm going to. So I'm excited for that, and I'm going to be working on that in the meantime. Okay, well, I hope you guys have an excellent day and a very mathematical day.